Today's episode of Friday Rollin' is brought to you by SeatGeek, our presenting sponsor and the only fan-friendly app for buying and selling tickets for sports and music. There's a lot of sports this month: basketball, hockey, baseball, NFL, college football. You need SeatGeek. Drop your old ticket app. Use OneBill for 2016. Buy tickets and enter stadiums on your phone. Download the free SeatGeek app or go to SeatGeek.com. Today's episode also brought to you by Stamps.com, our old buddy. Stop relying on the post office. Buy and print official U.S. postage using your own computer and printer. Sign up for Stamps.com right now. Use the promo code BS for a 4-week trial, plus a $110 bonus offer that includes postage and a digital scale. Go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of their homepage. Type in BS. Don't forget about Any Given Wednesday. That's my HBO show. Every Wednesday night, 10 p.m., we had Michael Rappaport, Doug Baldwin, and Joel McHale this week. Really enjoyed this one. Re-airs on HBO, HBO2, HBO Go, and HBO On Demand for great reads in sports, pop culture, tech, and politics. I hope you're checking out TheRinger.com, where I unveiled my idea for the All the Right Moves remake on TV this week. You'll have to find that one. And also, don't forget about the Ringer Podcast Network. 9 podcasts in all in the Ringer Podcast Network, including Ringer University, brand new college basketball and college football with new host Chris Vernon, among others. All right, we have Lombardi in the house coming up. Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, it's back.
Clear enough for you? All right.
We have Tupac for like 3 more weeks. We're going to enjoy every second of them.
Can you picture us rolling?
2 house cleaning notes before we get to Lombardi. Before Sunday night's presidential debate, Jon Favreau and the Keeping It 1600 guys are doing live pregame and postgame shows, not only on Facebook Live, but on Twitter. Oh yeah, we're putting them head to head. Follow us at facebook.com/ringer or twitter.com/ringer, and you can watch those pregame and postgame shows live. The last one was a huge success. This one's going to even be better. Sunday night, before and after the presidential debate. And also on Saturday night, October 15th in Boston, Massachusetts, my beloved Boston, Massachusetts, Jimmy Kimmel and I are doing a live show at the Schubert Theater that night. Think of it like a fancy podcast. All proceeds will benefit Harvard Scholars at Risk. We love that program. We love Jane Unruh, and we wanted to help raise money and awareness for that program. There are still a few tickets available. Go to citycenter.org, C-I-T-I center.org, or call 866-348-9738. Me and Jimmy, live show, October 15th, Saturday night. This will probably never happen again. So there we go. All right, let's call Lombardi. All right, as promised, from FS1 and Fox, you can check them out on Sundays on the Fox 11 a.m. show and also on a bunch of FS1 shows. FS1, doing well right now. Skip Bayless has rejuvenated FS1. Mike Lombardi, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you, Bill?
I'm doing good. I got killed last week in my picks, but I knew that was coming because it just felt like one of those weird, we don't know what the hell's going on in the league weeks. I have a better feel for this week. I want to throw a couple teams at you and see what your reactions were. First of all, the Vikings are kind of the ultimate Lombardi team, right? They get the lead, they take care of business, they do their job. It's a little Belichickian. What are your feelings on them?
I think it's very Belichickian. I think what you see with them is the classic Parcells-type team where they don't lose, they avoid losing, and I think you have to give Norv Turner credit here for his ability to call plays. He knows he's not going to be a head coach again, so he's not trying to interject his personality and tell everybody, oh, look how great the offense is. They punt when they have to punt. They make plays when they have to make plays. They take advantage of the situations, and I think they're playing complementary football in all 3 phases. They're hard to play, and the unsung thing that they do extremely well is they rush the passer with the kind of rush that keeps the quarterback in front of the defensive line, and it makes it hard for the quarterback to step up. They control quarterbacks with their pass rush as much as their coverage.
And you know what's interesting about them? And we should come up with a name for this team because there's one every year. There's the team where you go, yeah, if they get the lead, they're great. But what happens if they play from behind? And every week they have the lead. And at some point they end up being 13-3 or 14-2, and you're still waiting for them to play from behind. Isn't that one? That's this year's version of that team, right?
Yeah, because they don't mind punting, and because they don't mind punting, the game never gets away from them. New Orleans minds punting.
Yeah.
You know, they know when they punt, they're down 7-0. Atlanta minds punting. Now, they haven't had a punt, but their defense hasn't been on the field as much. So there's certain teams that mind punting, and when you mind punting, you know, then you become a problem team. And I think when you see what you see out of Minnesota is they'll play field position with you all day long. They'll control it, and you have to make plays on a consistent, but you get 12 possessions in a game. Can you make 3 really good possessions and score 21 points, especially as good as they are in the red area? I doubt it.
Broncos and Vikings, the best 2 defenses right now. Is there anybody else even close to those 2?
I think Seattle's really good on defense. You know, Seattle came back. Everybody says, oh, they're playing at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be a hard game. You know, that stat about going east to west, you know, when you lump in the bad teams in that stat is clearly, if you're a good team, you can play at any time of the day you want to play. You're going to play good. The 49ers, I think Bill Walsh during the time he was in San Francisco, he had a better win percentage on the road than every other team in the NFL did at home.
Wow.
So if you're a good team, you can play on the road. And I think Seattle's a really good defense. I think they've played much better defense the first month of the season. Their offense shocked me last week in their ability to move the ball against the Jets. So I think Seattle belongs in the conversation.
Yeah, and I was shocked by how well Wilson moved. I mean, I picked against the Seahawks solely because I just thought Jets D-line, shaky Seahawks offensive line, Wilson can't move. And now it's like you can just get quarterbacks ready again in 2 days. It doesn't matter what their injuries
it's remarkable.
Are. It's amazing. In the old days, he would have been out 6 weeks.
Yeah, he would have, but with a heavy brace, couldn't move around. I thought he was going to have to play the whole game and shotgun and never hand it off and throw quick pass. And he did really remarkably well against a good defense. Look, the Jets season is on the line in Pittsburgh because they're a good team, and they can't create turnovers, and they give the ball away, which is not a recipe to be described as a good team. But that's what they do, and they're going to lose their season if they keep playing that way. And if this is the season in Pittsburgh.
So it sounds like you have a top 5. Broncos, Steelers. I know you still love the Steelers. The Pats, the Vikings, and the Seahawks. Would that be your top tier right now?
Yeah, and I don't have to me, I call those the 60-minute teams. Those teams, you got to beat them for 60 minutes. You're going to have to play them, and they're not out of the game no matter what the score for 60 minutes. Philadelphia is not quite in that group.
Yeah.
You know, Philadelphia to me is a 55-minute team.
Yeah, let's do that because we were texting about this. Let's do the different minutes. So you have 5 60-minute teams. What are the Packers? Are they a 50-minute team?
I have the Packers at a 55-minute team.
Okay. And explain what that means though, because it's really nuanced.
Because what happens is let's start backwards. Okay, the 45-minute teams are the teams that can play good for 3 quarters. Cleveland, they're in those games now. You know, everybody said, you know, they're going to give the Redskins a tough game, and that's right, they are. But they can give them a tough game for 3 quarters.
Yeah,
they're a 45-minute team. So I'm not a gambler, but when you look at the line, you think, oh, God, they're going to play them close because they can play 45 minutes. You've got to calculate the last 15 minutes of the game where they don't play as well.
Right.
To me, Tampa's another team like that. Chicago, Detroit. I mean, Miami has the ball 11 minutes in the first half on an average. Can you imagine that? They get the ball less than 50, almost a little more than 50% in the first half. They're a 45. They can play probably good for 3 quarters. Now, it might be the last 3 quarters and not the first quarter, but they can't play well enough. So I have Miami, I have Jacksonville, I have Indianapolis, and I have San Francisco in that category.
And those are all cross-offs for the season, right? Have we given up on Indianapolis?
I don't see them. I mean, Indianapolis, I don't see how they're going to recover from this. I mean, there's no strength you can build on.
Yeah.
What are they going to build on? Their offensive line, their defensive line? You know, they go away to Jackson, they go away to London, and you can never get control of the game. That's why they're a 45-minute team because they never can control the game. They can steal a win here and there, but they can't control the game. Then the next category is 50 minutes where they'll get the game into the fourth quarter, and it's going to come really close. Like that would be San Diego.
Right.
Okay? New Orleans, because of their offense, can do it. Tennessee, just because they just milk the clock. They're not good enough, Tennessee, but they play a lot of close games.
Yeah.
You know, Buffalo. Washington's terrible on defense, really good on offense. They can play into the fourth quarter with you. Now, you're going to have to beat them, but they could give you the game easily. Houston, Arizona, Carolina, the Jets, the Giants, and Kansas City. To me, those are 50-minute teams.
Carolina gives up 48 points to Atlanta, and I can't decide if we're going to look back and think that was the single flukiest game of the season, or we're going to look back and be like, that was the week we should have realized Atlanta was good and Carolina's garbage this year. Where do you stand on this?
I stand that Atlanta's a little better dressed up than New Orleans.
Okay.
That's really all it is. Atlanta doesn't want to punt, because if Atlanta punts, that defense is on the field. Now, where they've done a great job is they're number one in the league in big plays. They have more big plays. I think they have 24 big plays, which are 20-yard passes or runs or more. But they're also 31st in the league in allowing you to have big plays. So that cycle is eventually going to catch up. That's why they're in this category. They're like a 55-minute team, because they can't really play good enough defense for the entire game. Eventually, the dam's going to break. If they turn it over, if they miss field goals, it's going to be really a problem for them. So Atlanta, to me, is last year they started out 4-0. They didn't make the playoffs. This year they started out 4-0 or 3-1. Let's see what they do. To me, the liability is their defense. They can't win with their defensive line, and they're going to play teams. They have Denver this week. They have Seattle next week that can match up to them, and I think that will be the challenge.
I don't want to talk about Arizona too much because we're taping this on a Thursday and their game's that night, but I did want to ask you, Carson Palmer, even before he got hurt and got the concussion, all the signs were pointing to him having, one of those years like Jake Delhomme had the year after the 6 interception game, where you have the traumatic playoff game, you're coming off a career season, you're banged up, it's unlikely that this whole chain of events is going to happen again, and that's what we saw before that concussion. Are you writing him off? Where would you stand on Palmer?
I did a lot of research on Palmer this week, because you've been raising the question. You saw something in him, and everybody's not sure what's wrong with Palmer, but they know something's wrong. And the answer is simply this: Palmer is reverted back to who Palmer is. Last year was the aberration.
Yeah.
Look at the numbers. The numbers were so clear above his standard of excellence. I mean, significantly. Like a baseball player who averages 18 home runs and all of a sudden hits 45.
Yeah.
Or the three-point shooter who shoots 30%, but during the season he ends up at 45. He had a career year. Palmer had a career year. That's the reality. What you're seeing in Carson Palmer is the same. Go back and listen to old podcasts, and you talked about him.
Yeah.
We talked about him.
Yeah, it's true.
It's the exact same. It's good. He's a good player, but he's reverting to the mean. He's not. That last year isn't the mean. It's the aversion to the mean, and so he's reverting back, and that's the problem. We're all looking at him as if he's that, and really what he is the list history. Like if he was a baseball player, his baseball card, you would look at it and say, "Wow, 15 was an abnormal year for him. He was really good."
Right. Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, we don't know what's going to happen tonight, and by the time people listen to this, they're going to know. Part of me wonders if him not playing for a week is going to be better for them in the long run, because they had this team built around big plays and Palmer being a gunslinger and all this stuff. And maybe their team should be built around David Johnson and, and the running game they have and just trying to move the ball and control the clock. I don't know. I guess we'll find out tonight.
I think when I was in Oakland, we had Kerry Collins, who's, we were 1-3 after the first month of September, and Kerry Collins had the highest-rated quarterback, based on the NFL.com quarterback rating. He was like over 100. Typically, he was always in the 80s.
Yeah.
And I said, if he's at this and we're 1-3, we got to fix other areas, because he's not going to keep playing at this level. And I think that's what the Cardinals have to do. And I think where the Cardinals misjudged themselves a little bit was thinking that they could build off of Carson Palmer's season, that was who he is, when in reality, that was an exception.
All right, we're going to play a game. I don't have a better title for this yet, but we're going to call it Fake GM. You are a real GM, so you're the perfect person to play this with. Let's say you're running, I don't know, one of the 8 teams that has a quarterback, that needs a quarterback. Let's say you're running, I don't know who really needs that. Maybe the Bears. Cutler's out for the year, whatever. And Miami calls you and says, we want to dump Tannehill. 3rd-round pick. You can have him right now. And the salary cap stuff isn't that bad. Would you roll the dice with Tannehill for a 3rd-round pick?
No, because here's my rule as a GM, playing fake GM and real GM. My rule is this. I never want to trade for a player or sign a player and the next day say, we really need to get a better player. I never want to do that. I don't want to sign a guard and say, and the next day say, we really need a guard. Like, that's not the business we're in. We're in to solve the problem. Now, we have to be tactical, and I understand the whole theory of getting a little bit better at first, which Al Davis completely disagreed with violently about just incremental improvements. The reality of it is when I trade for Ryan Tannehill, I still need a quarterback. Right. So why would I?
All right. You're the GM of the
Regardless of the price. The price doesn't matter.
You're the GM of the Niners. The Titans come to you, and they say, Mariota's kind of regressing, and we don't have the right team around him. I don't trust our coaching staff. I'm not saying we have buyer's remorse, but let's just say if you gave us your first this year and a second next year that could turn into a first if you guys win 10 games, we'd be interested in maybe moving him for Kaepernick and the picks. What would you do?
I'm making that deal.
Okay.
I think what you see with Mariota, you certainly see a slip in his production this year from last year. He actually had a better rookie season than he has a sophomore season. But the team around him, they have no receivers that can separate. It's not a conducive team for his skill set in terms of the players surrounding him. This is what I truly believe, Bill. Quarterbacks are like baseball stadiums. You have to build the team. In baseball, they build a team around the stadium. Quarterbacks are the same way. You better build your team around a quarterback that on his talent, skill set. Now, that doesn't apply to a guy like Ryan Tannehill, because if I'm building it around Tannehill, I'm not going to be good enough anyway. But if you get an elite quarterback, which I think Mariota is, then you build his skill set around that.
All right. You're running the Rams. The Colts come to you. Colts say, Luck's going to get killed. Like, we can't put a good team around him. We're interested in talking about a trade with you about Goff, and we want just a ton of picks. But we'll do this. We're ready to do this, and you can have Andrew Luck. What's the price?
I think that's going to be really steep when you go look at the draft choices, because Luck's entering the prime of his career. So you're talking to probably, at least more than any Lawrence Welk 1, 2, and a 3 trade.
Right.
So it would be significant.
The problem with football is it's too hard to trade. In basketball,
it's really hard.
You just have to fit the contracts under. But in football, because you have all these guaranteed bonus and all this stuff, and it's like you just can't flip people around. I obviously don't think the Colts would make a trade, but it's the Rams. It would be really interesting if they used Goff as some sort of, if they thought, wow, we might actually have a chance to be a Super Bowl contender. We should use Goff, even though we just gave up all these picks for him, to try to leverage him into a better quarterback. But that quarterback doesn't exist. What would you give up for Cutler?
I wouldn't give up anything for Cutler, because if culture matters to me, bringing Cutler into my culture would really affect me. So to me, I've got to find somebody else. I think the Bears are better with Brian Hoyer. I mean, Brian Hoyer is 16 and 15 in his career as a starter, going back to his time in Cleveland, his time in Houston. Look, I don't think he's perfect, but I think he can't. You're not going to win a Super Bowl with Brian Hoyer playing quarterback, but you're certainly not going to hurt your culture of your football team.
Yeah.
And look like you have a quarterback who's disinterested in the game. I mean, you're trying to build something. Like, that's my problem with Chicago. They're not. I don't know what they're trying to build. Like, I don't know where they're going. They got rid of their players, Forte, Bennett, and they kept Cutler. What are they actually trying to build?
Is there a team that's underachieved so far that when you watch the talent that the team has, you think to yourself, wow, like that? Like, I was watching the Jags-Colts game, and the Jags, they're a mess. And I don't like Bortles, and I certainly don't think they have a chance to win 10 games or anything. But, man, they had a lot of dudes on defense that were doing stuff. And that was the first time I watched them and thought to myself, there's something here. I don't know what's here, but there's something here. Did you feel that way watching that game?
I thought Jacksonville's got some players. I don't know cohesively if they play like a team. I think the other team like that is Oakland. I think Oakland defensively, I know they're 3-1, but Oakland is really underachieves on defense. Like, Oakland had no business beating Baltimore. You look at the stat sheet, 13 penalties, horrible on third down. They've made enough plays to win the game, but you're not going to consistently beat teams. That's why they're in that 55-minute club, because they're not going to consistently beat teams like that. So I think Jacksonville's probably a little more talented. I think the Jets are more talented than 1 and 3. understanding of Fitzpatrick and the quarterback, it just shows you how bad that Geno Smith and all those other quarterbacks are, because they can't ever get to Geno Smith as bad as Fitzpatrick's playing. And there's no player who's yelling for Geno to come on the field. So that's got to tell you something right there.
Tennessee's next 5, they're at Miami. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with that game because we have this terrible hurricane coming, but they're going to play that game somewhere. Then they have 3 at home, Cleveland, Indianapolis, and Jacksonville, which they have a chance to be favored in all 3 of those games. And then at San Diego. Now, you could argue that all of those games not only are winnable, but, if I had to pick, I might pick them in all 5 of those games. Is there a chance that Tennessee could do something in the AFC South? I know they have terrible receivers. Go.
They have a chance because they play the game they only score 15 points a night. They're 31st in the league in how many points they can score. So how many teams can you beat? Even when you play bad teams, if you average 15 points, you're not going to beat them. So they're always going to be in close games. They're always going to be down to that last-second field goal. Some they'll win, some they'll lose. So I don't think you could ever look at the upcoming opponents when you're the Tennessee Titans and start penciling in W's. So that being said, I think they're solid on defense. They play hard. DeMarco Murray, to me, looks like he's as good a back as he was with Dallas.
I agree.
They just have no skill around them.
Yeah,
and you can and to me the object of the game is to score points, and the Titans don't score points.
All right, let's talk about the Pats. Something weird happened last week. Everyone thought Jimmy was playing, and they didn't play, and it almost looked like they weren't ready, or maybe they thought the defense was going to win the game, or who the hell knows. But it was just a weird game, weird vibe coming out of it. Do you see just now Brady's back. Do we throw that one away, or should I take something from it?
Well, I think they have to. I think it's time now. They've got 12 games defensively to step up. I think the concern you have as a Patriot fan is defensively. Where are we? We played. We're 1 field goal away from being 2-2.
Yeah.
And so we're sitting there saying, we're 3-1, everything's great. No, kid missed a field goal. We could have been 2-2. We played a horrible second half against Miami. We couldn't cover the Bills receivers, whether it's Robert Woods, Walter Powell. It didn't matter. Charles Clay couldn't tackle LaShawn McCoy. The defense needs to play better. Now, it'll be masked by the offense because Brady will score points, they'll get the lead, and they'll do their things. But at the time when it's going to matter, against Pittsburgh or against Denver, the good teams, that defense has got to take a Mother May I step forward. And if they don't, then that's going to be the downfall of the Patriots this season if their defense doesn't play well. And right now, they're not playing near the level that they need to play to be able to be considered a team that can go into Denver and win or go into Pittsburgh and win.
Everyone always says September, it's hard to judge because there's so many young players. Everybody's just too many guys that haven't been coached enough yet. There's not enough practice time, all that stuff. Is there a team that has just a batch of young players that has really impressed you?
I think Oakland has a bunch of good young players that they've impressed me. I think they've got a lot of guys that seem like they can do it. Philadelphia is a young team, really. Yeah. When you look at Philly, they're a young team that moves around really well. I'm trying to think what other. Jacksonville's got a lot of young players on their team. Pittsburgh's defense is fairly young, but what you don't want to be is the Colts, where you have 7 guys over 30-year-old on your defense.
And
that's where you don't want to be.
And you're terrible.
And be bad. Yeah, that's what you don't want to be. So, people say, look, September is just kind of jockeying. I get it, but last year, besides Kansas City and Houston was 1-3, they made the playoffs. And Atlanta was 4-0 and didn't make the playoffs. Pretty much, it's when you're good in September, you're probably there's 1 or 2 teams that may not be good or may have overachieved in September, but there's a sense of I would say there's a core of 8 teams that in September are good that are going to be good in November and December.
Which team would you bet on to kind of come on here now that we're in October, KC or Cincinnati?
I think Kansas City is always a problem. I think because they just play a style that's almost boring. They are the Woody Hayes offense. Even though they spread you out, they're 3 plays to get a first down every time, and they don't mind it. They enjoy it. They enjoy a good 15-play drive and kick a field goal.
Yeah,
they relish in it. And I think their defense. If they can get Justin Houston back, I think that'll be a giant bump in their arm. I just never trust Cincinnati because I do think Dalton is the perfect example of the 2020 quarterback. Yeah. I think he'll move the ball. They haven't really run the ball effectively. I think their offensive line And one of the reasons why Dalton has been sacked so much is because the line hasn't played nearly as well. And defensively, their corner situation is really not very good. They've kind of masked it a little bit here, but they haven't been healthy in the secondary. Until they get healthy in the secondary, that's going to be a challenge.
Who do you have as the wild cards right now? If you assume like Pats, Texans, Steelers, and Denver as the division champs, who would be your two AFC wild cards? If you had to bet on
I think Kansas City's going to wear down. I don't think Oakland can handle the volume. I think Oakland's, walked out of Baltimore fortunate that they were able to do it. If Pittsburgh wins it, I think it'll come down to Cincinnati and Baltimore in the North. And I think Kansas City will be the other one in the West. I don't think we'll be blessed to get two teams out of the South.
So you're not buying Buffalo at all? We wrote them off after they lost 2 games in 5 days, and then they won 2 in a row. Nothing.
No, I mean, I look. It's a nice story. Buffalo, water will seek its level with Buffalo. They will be 7-9, 6-10 before this is all over with. They're not going to be good enough to play. They're not going to be good enough to play. Bella is.
Your dogs.
She's been dying to get on the podcast. Bella's been dying to get on the podcast. It's killed her that she hasn't made an appearance. But anyway, Buffalo is not going to be just good enough. I mean, Tyrod Taylor, they scored 16 points against the Patriots. The Patriots were willing to give them 30.
Yeah.
And I said on the podcast they couldn't score 30 against Air, and everybody was giving me a hard time. But the way they played, I just don't see it. I don't see how. I think they'll have a hard time playing the Rams. Buffalo's going to be in every game. The Arizona team was, to me, the last couple of games they've been fortunate, and I just don't think they're talented enough.
Yeah, Buffalo scored on the first drive and then put up a whopping 9 the rest of the game against a team that couldn't throw the ball at all, couldn't do anything.
Right, and then even against Arizona, they blocked a punt. I mean, They were doing some good things. But you think Buffalo's going to handle success? I think the more you talk up Buffalo, the better chance they have to fall down.
True. Last question: the Rams, 3-1, without a quarterback. Good defense. Schedules really helped them. But they did beat Seattle at home. They did hold Seattle to 3 points. Should we be looking them at all?
On the hottest day of the year in Los Angeles.
Okay.
I mean, water was $40 a bottle. I don't know. I think the Rams will find a way to. I just don't see how you're going to keep sustaining this level.
Yeah.
You're just not going to do it. You can do it in September, but it's going to get harder in November to win like this. Trust me, it's hard to win in November and December. You're not going to win like this. And I think Arizona will correct themselves once they figure it out. And I don't think San Francisco has enough depth or talent. But the Rams don't have any talent on offense. They're always going to keep you in the game. They're always going to keep you in the game with their offense.
So you think the Rams and Bills are both going to lose when they play each other this week? It's going to be the first ever double loss? Wins?
I think both teams will try to lose. I think one will come out a winner. I think Buffalo, coming off that win against New England, will have a hard time maintaining their level of concentration. But that's just me.
Yeah, you love the immature team coming off a big win, having a stumble the following week is one of your favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and then you travel across the country, and your focus. Hey, when you think you're good, that's when it's worse. Whereas like New England, nothing could have been better for Belichick than to lose to Buffalo at home.
Right.
It's the perfect opportunity for him to readjust his team and say, forget Brady coming in here. We need to tackle better. We need to block better. We need to cover better. Here's why. And that's why the theme out of New England all week was, forget about Brady coming back. This is what we're going to do. And he can get their attention. It's really difficult when you're a young team to get their attention. And that's where I think Oakland's been a little fortunate because they've kind of found ways to win some games, and they're going to find ways to lose some of those games in November.
I forgot. I had one more question for you. You're the master. You're the guru of finding the random 4-string running back who had like 3 carries in some game and he jumped out at you and then you just file it away and then much later the guy ends up being good. Is there anybody like that this year so far?
I think it's the Richards kid in Oakland. I think he's really the kid from southern Mississippi. He's really a good back. They got him and they signed him as a college free agent. And I think he's a really good back. I think Dwayne Washington, the 7th-round pick out of the University of Washington, is a really good back. He's playing because of Riddick's injury. I think he's got a chance to be a really good player. And then Kenneth Dixon, who's been hurt, Louisiana Tech 4th-round pick for Baltimore. Baltimore has no running game. I think Kenneth Dixon will come in and really shine. But those 3 guys, to me, jump off to me. I think they have really unique skills. There's a time where Dwayne Washington, in Detroit, he's not Marcus Allen, so I don't want to hear anybody pick it, but he's got a little Marcus Allen run style to him. He can run, he's slinky, catches the ball really well. It's unfortunate that Detroit's offense isn't really playing very well, but I think he's got a chance to really emerge.
I wonder if he's hung like Marcus Allen. Marcus Allen, a legend.
This I don't know. This is an area I'm not an expertise on.
All right, you have 38 seconds to talk about Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid.
Well, I mean, it goes back to Doug Collins. Every time we have the first pick overall in the draft, the guy loses, gets hurting his foot.
Right.
You know, I think we won't see Simmons until next season. I mean, everybody says it's not that bad. Come on. Basketball players, I mean, the 76ers injury report looks worse than any football team.
Yeah.
I mean, they got Okafor still out with a meniscus from last year.
Right.
I mean, like, really, what do they do? Like, does anybody rehab? Oh, I got a bad wrist, I can't play tonight. I mean, I would go crazy in the NBA. Like, these minor injuries, guys are out. It's, like, unbelievable. Football players, you kidding me? So, I think we'll be in the lottery again. There's no doubt we'll be in the lottery.
I wonder if the process is really going to go all the way through year 4, where they're just going to toss away another season. They have all these big guys. You can't play 5 centers.
Of course they are. And everybody talks, trust the process. Yeah, the process got us 5 centers. How's that working out for us? Everybody says, Henke's plan's been magnificent. How's that worked out for us? We don't even have a team. We have a collection of players. The object is to build a team, not collect players.
Right.
And then we can't turn any of those players into assets. And, trust the process. I've trusted the process. I got 19 centers. I mean, who's going to play? Nobody can dribble the ball up the court. It's ridiculous. It proves one thing, Bill. If you ever tell people what your plan is, no matter how bad it is, they'll buy into it. Right. This is a lesson to learn for everybody. Because their plan doesn't work.
Well,
nobody's giving them a hard time. I just saw the kid from Milwaukee sign an extension. We could have drafted that kid from Milwaukee.
Yeah.
We could have drafted the kid the Knicks have. Nobody says that's part of the process, though.
That is true. They were trying to build basically a team that could finish in the top 3 of the lottery every year while taking chances and big swings on prospects, and they didn't take Giannis or Porzingis. Pretty interesting.
I mean, they're talking out of both sides of their mouth. You add those 2 players to the 76ers team right now, let's have a different conversation. But I trusted the process. I don't have those 2 guys.
I do like Saric, and I do like Embiid. And I actually think Noel on the right team could be good. And I actually like Okafor. I don't mind the players. The problem they're in now is that they can't play all of them at the same time. And everyone else in the league knows that they have to trade at least 2 of those guys. And I'm not even counting Simmons because he's out. And it's like, you're going to be able to steal Okafor pretty soon for 55 cents in the dollar. That's going to happen.
Right.
That's how this is going to play out.
We could have drafted Porzingis. Is that his name?
Porzingis.
Could have drafted him.
You could have traded down, and you could have taken like Devin Booker 10 spots later or 8 spots later. Whatever. There's a lot of stuff you could have done. If
you're interested in building a team, but see, we were interested in collecting assets. So now we have all these assets. We have all these cars on the lot, and we're not going to be able to sell any of these cars at full value because everybody knows we're trying to sell them.
Right, and that's
so I've trusted the process, and here's what I've got.
Right, and that's why the process is defensible in a lot of ways, but the part that nobody factors in is what do you do when you're collecting assets when all of a sudden those assets don't make sense as a collection of assets? Now what?
Your job as an executive is to build a team. It isn't to collect assets. We're not in the hedge fund business. Like, we're not looking to add to our portfolio. We're trying to build a championship-level team.
Yeah.
Like, we can turn those assets into, I mean, Jerry West will tell you it's fool's gold. That's his exact quote. It's all fool's gold. And it's the truth.
Mike Lombardi, a pleasure as always. I'm sorry about Ben Simmons. The injury resonated deep in my Simmons family.
I hope the little young man Ben Simmons is doing as well as anyone. That's the most important Ben Simmons
He had just gotten a jersey and a T-shirt jersey and a snapback hat, and now there's no Ben Simmons.
You can blame it on me. Just blame it on. It's my fault.
All right. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks.
Thanks, Bill. Bye-bye.
All right, we're going to call House to do the Callaway Par 3, and then we're also going to do Eastern Conference NBA over-unders just for fun. But let's talk first about Sonos. It's the smart speaker system that streams all your favorite music to any room or every room. Control your music with one simple app on your phone or iPad or any other device. You can fill your home with pure, immersive sound. Sonos brings your music together in one simple app. It's all your favorite music services. You can even play songs like Tupac. And you control everything from the choice of songs to the volume of the rooms. Play your music in any room or every room at once, or play a different song in the living room, bedroom, even bathroom. Play the same track in every room. I don't care. You have all the choices you want. How can you have a party without Sonos? Seriously, how? Add your existing music service or discover something new. Go to Sonos.com right now. And also, happy anniversary to me, because it was my 1-year anniversary with MeUndies. We launched this podcast a year ago. They sponsored the first one. They sent me a big box of comfortable underwear. I've been wearing them ever since. I actually have like 2 favorite MeUndies. They sent me a bunch, but there's like 2. I always rank the underwear as like their starters in their starting rotation. And I wore Bumgardner 2 days ago for the Any Given Wednesday taping, and it was a shutout. It was just a great performance by the MeUndies. I love MeUndies. Every pair is made from sustainably sourced modal, a fabric that's 3 times softer than cotton. Once you try them on, you'll understand why it has the rep as the world's most comfortable underwear. MeUndies has dozens of styles, limited edition prints to help you make a statement with your underwear. Find your own Bumgardner. Shipping is free in the U.S. and Canada, and if you don't like your first pair of MeUndies, guess what? They're free too. Go to MeUndies.com/BS for 20% off your first order, plus free shipping. Build your starting rotation with MeUndies. That's MeUndies.com/BS. And now, the glutton, Joe House. All right, as promised, Joe House, we are taping this on a Thursday afternoon. Every Friday, House and I do a Callaway Par 3 where we pick 3 NFL games, and I triple bogeyed last week. I had the +3. I think I went 0 for 3. I'm pretty sure I went 0 for 3. Did I go for? I did go 0 for 3. What did you go?
You went 0 for 3. I went 1 and 2, so I had a birdie, a bogey, and another bogey, so I am now +4 on the season.
God, this is embarrassing.
What is your?
So
yeah, we're both over par. Stinkers.
It's awful. So we're going to race through the Callaway Par 3, and as a present to you guys, since we were screwing up our NFL picks, we're going to do Eastern Conference NBA over-under. So we're going to do that after this. I will say I did not like Week 3 NFL, and I did not like Week 4 NFL. I do like Week 5, and I'm excited for Week 5. But first, tell them about the Callaway Irons, House.
The XR Steelhead irons, the brand new XR technology on the old school Steelhead design platform. They're awesome. The #1 irons in golf. That's what Callaway delivers. These XR Steelheads are beautiful, fast, and technologically superior.
Okay, great. All right, Callaway Par 3, your first pick, go.
I'm taking the New York Jets. I've seen 7 and 7.5. At Pittsburgh. This is one of my old-school contrarian plays. We have not been doing very well lately, so I felt like I needed to go a little old school with some of my angles. The Steelers won huge last week, as we know, so right out of the box, the public slams the Steelers as soon as the line comes out. There's over 80% of the public on the Steelers. The Jets lost and did not cover. It's a conference game. The Steelers, 0-6, little nugget. 0-6 against the spread in games where they are coming off of scoring 40 or more, and the team that they're up against has lost 2 in a row. 0-6 against the spread. My big takeaway here, Ryan Fitzpatrick cannot keep throwing games away. 9 interceptions in 2 games. Is he going to throw this one away too? I hope not.
There you go. Jets. So I have that at 7.5.
Okay, wonderful.
Congratulations. I have the Raiders laying 3.5 to San Diego. I think the line is too low. I think the Chargers keep blowing these games, and it's having a real effect on them. I think the Chargers are banged up. I think the Raiders are actually more talented than they've shown in some of these games that they've had to gut out. We just had Lombardi on. He was talking about how much he liked the 2 running backs that are replacing Latavius Murray, who I've never been a fan of. And I just think the Raiders are ready to bust out and win a game convincingly and pound their chest because they're 4-1, and I'm ready for a week of Derek Carr stories. I think this is the week we really start seriously talking about the Raiders.
That's interesting. I like the Chargers in that one. That's not one of my picks.
That's
but
fine.
The Raiders don't have a strong history of covers.
I know.
As
that's
a favorite.
Fine.
They don't like being favorites.
You know what else they didn't have a strong history of? Going west to east and winning 10 and winning 1 a.m. game or 1 p.m. game. So I believe in the possibilities of this Raiders team. All right, your second pick.
Okay. I'm taking the Denver Broncos laying 6 at home against Atlanta. This is mainly a play against Atlanta. I feel like they haven't played anything like a defense that the Bronx are going to throw at them. Every team, in fact, that the Falcons have faced so far are in the bottom half of the league in sacks. I think the Broncos are going to sack the daylights out of Matty Ice. I think he's going to be looking for and feeling pressure all over. The Broncos lead the NFL in sacks and have 41 quarterback hits through the first 4 games of the season. The next closest in terms of quarterback hits, there are 3 teams at 27. So nobody's really even close to the Broncos in terms of mounting pressure. Matty Ice does not like pressure, and I also have one little nugget that I like. This is a silly one. Defending Super Bowl champions at home in Game 5 are 5-0 against the spread if they enter that Week 5 4-0. That describes the Denver Broncos. They're my pick, -6 against Atlanta.
That's just absurd. I don't even know how to react to that. It's just, man, there's a lot of games I like that were like -3.5 and -4, which always scares me off. Like I like the Ravens against your team, but it's 4, and the 4 scares me. And I know Kirk Cousins will give me a "you like that" garbage time touchdown. I'm staying away from that. For my second game, I have, I don't know where this game is being played, but the Titans are playing the Dolphins, and they're getting 3.5 points. And my rule is when I just think I'm getting like a free field goal, basically, I'm just taking it, and I'm taking the Titans plus 3.5 because I actually just think they're better than Miami. I don't think Miami's a good football team. It's weird. I keep talking myself into this Titans team, even though they've let me down a couple of times. I think they're solid. They stay in games. It just seems like too many points, so I'm taking that. All right, your third pick.
I totally agree with that Titans pick. I almost put them in this. You mentioned the Deadskins and the Ravens. Of course, I'm taking the Ravens. It's at 4. I had them at 3.5. 4 is fine as well. We have now incontrovertible proof that the Deadskins win games when those games are handed to them on a silver platter. They have not yet gone out and taken a game. I don't think they're going to Baltimore and taking this game. The Browns were, let me remind everyone, leading the Deadskins going into the fourth quarter 20-17, and then turned the ball over 3 consecutive times, thereby ending their day. The Deadskins were out-yarded by the Browns in that game, and the same thing was true of the Giants the previous week. Eli handed that game to the Deadskins. The Deadskins have not given out, have not gone and taken one. I feel like the line here is low. I think on a power ranking basis, and we now have, it's a small sample size, but enough of an indication of how teams should be ranked that the Ravens on a neutral field are a 3.5 to 4 point favorite, and then as a home team should be 6.5 point favorite. I feel like I'm getting some extra value out of the Ravens here, so I'm taking the Ravens -4, let's say, against my Deadskins.
Okay. I really want to take the Pats -11 against the Browns, but I'm not going to. I also really wanted to take the Rams -2 over the Bills, but I can't pick Case Keenum, especially after a triple bogey last week. And I really, really, really wanted to take the Bears +4.5 in Indianapolis because I think Indianapolis is just flat out atrocious. But I can't name 3 Chicago skill position guys at this point. I literally can't. I know Brian Hoyer's involved. Jeffrey's involved. Jeremy Langford's out. I don't even know who their 5th-string running back is. I'm just staying away from that. So I'm taking Cincinnati -1 in Dallas because I don't think Dallas is very good. I think it's a deceiving 3-1. They lost to the Giants. They beat your Deadskins on a terrible Kirk Cousins pass.
The Deadskins gifted that game to Dallas.
Yes. They killed the Bears, and then they squeaked it out over just an atrocious Niners team. And I don't know. I just think Cincy, I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender, but I think they're a good team that does everything pretty well and can stay in the game, and I don't think they've really played a good road game yet where they can just, I don't know. I just like Cincinnati. I don't believe in Dallas. So that's it. That's my third pick.
I love that pick. And
Thank you.
I made a big play on it in a different forum that I'm not at liberty to discuss here.
Okay. I like this week. And I'm going to be teasing, three-team teasing the Pats with somebody. I just don't know. All right, so we're gonna do NBA over-unders, but first I want to talk about our friends at Squarespace, who make it easy to build beautiful websites without breaking a sweat, regardless of skill level. No coding needed. Not only does Squarespace provide easy-to-use tools, they have state-of-the-art technology that ensures security and stability. And security. Millions of people and some of the world's most respected brands, including Joe House, trust Squarespace, so you should too. Not only do you get 24/7 online support, you can even design a best-in-class online store with Squarespace's award-winning templates and customizable settings. And with Squarespace Commerce, you get all the tools you need to track inventory, process orders, send custom emails. Look at House's heavy breathing into the phone. He's so excited. In one intuitive interface. Start a free trial today. No credit card required. Squarespace.com. Use offer code BS, and you get 10% off your first purchase. And check out, what's your Squarespace website? HouseFromDC.com?
HouseFromDC.com, of course.
Have you been posting eating
Anybody
pictures?
who needs a food recommendation, if you're coming to the DMV and need a food recommendation, I got them all up there. It's probably due for an update. I've been to a few places since I posted that, but there are probably 25 different restaurants from a whole variety, walks of life. HouseFromDC.com under House Recommends. And yes, there are many pictures of delicious food items on that website.
All right. What's your number one DC restaurant right now?
It's a place called Kinship. It's a kind of a new American thing by a guy who used to cook for a restaurant called Citizen, which was in the Mandarin Hotel here in D.C.
Okay.
He opened up his own shop in the Shaw
That was too long of an answer. It's too long of an answer.
Okay, sorry. Kinship.
Yeah, just wanted a
Kinship's
quick
my
answer.
favorite right now.
Why haven't you been on Kornheiser's podcast yet?
He hasn't invited me.
He's a dick. He's a cranky old
Do you think
dick.
I would say no?
No, I'm gonna have Uncle Tony invite you because you should be on his podcast. Come on, Uncle Tony. Quickly before we get to the over-unders, I'm not allowed to bet on the MVP since I have a vote, but I think I'm allowed to actually talk about the odds. And everybody is on this Westbrook MVP bandwagon because he's going to shoot.
Not me.
He's going to shoot 32 times a game and have a usage rate of 40, and they're going to go 42 and 40. I'm not on that bandwagon.
Me either.
There's a guy whose odds are skew. Can you guess who I'm thinking?
I haven't looked. I haven't spent 1 second looking at it, but my
All right,
guess.
you know what I'll do? Hold on. I'm going to read you the top 12 guys. Do not make a sound until I'm done. LeBron 4-1, Westbrook 4-1, Curry 4-1, Durant 8-1, Kawhi 10-1, Anthony Davis 15-1, Harden 20-1, Paul George 30-1, Karl Anthony Towns 35-1, Kyrie 40-1, Blake 50-1, Carmelo 50-1, Chris Paul 50-1. Now it's getting ridiculous. Okay. Any of those jump out to you?
There are three that I like.
Okay.
Two of which I would play, one I would not play.
Yeah.
The three that I like: James Harden,
Okay.
Karl Anthony Towns,
Yeah.
and Kawhi Leonard.
Okay. Now you and I have not.
I wouldn't play Kawhi because 10-1 isn't enough value for me. But I love. Go ahead.
No, go. You love who?
I didn't look at this. Towns.
This is like the newlywed game where you and I have not discussed this, and yet we ended up with the same answer. The James Harden odds are way out of whack. 20-1 is ludicrous. It's just ludicrous because he had the year from hell last year. Weird two coaches. He had Ty Lawson on his team. He had the chemistry was way off. The whole year sucked. He's dating Khloe Kardashian. Throw it away. Year before he was the number 2 MVP. Now he's got D'Antoni. He's making him the point guard, which he basically is anyway. He's going to be super motivated. That 4 seed is wide open in the West, And everybody's talking about Westbrook. Oh my God. And it's like Harden's going to have better stats than Westbrook, and he's going to have better percentages, and he's going to be on a better team. And 20-1 is insane to me because the MVP is wide open. The Golden State guys, you can't vote for any of them. I think LeBron, this is the year he cruise controls the regular season a little bit. And I don't know. I just think it's sitting there. 20-1 is outrageous to me. I can't believe those are the odds.
Yeah, I agree. I would have reversed if you had just given the odds and names and said match these. I would have matched Kawhi Leonard up with 20-1 and put Harden down at 10-1. But let's hang up and make a play on James Harden.
No, I'm not allowed.
Because we both love him at 20-1.
No, I
oh, you're not. I am.
I have a vote.
Yeah, I'm going to hang up and make a play.
My job
Hooray!
is just to point out which odds are out of whack. The only other one that I saw on here is Jaylen Brown is 1,000,000-1, and I wouldn't rule that out because his two dunks are incredible. Jaylen Brown.
You're so asinine.
My dad.
The way you work a Celtics in every single time.
My dad and I were talking about the Celtics yesterday, and my dad goes, my dad's all in on Jaylen Brown. All Jaylen Brown had to do is 4 dunks and one story about how Jay Crowder's taking Jaylen Brown under his wing. Jaylen Brown goes over to Jay Crowder's house and plays with Jay Crowder's kids. He plays video games with them. And my dad is like, he's a good kid. He's a good kid. He plays video games with Jay Crowder's kids. I'm like, what? You're in on the pick now because he plays video games with Jay Crowder's kids? What are you talking about? Porzingis is 100-1.
Congratulations.
Boogie Cousins.
Good luck to the Knicks.
Boogie Cousins, 50-1.
Best of luck to the Knicks this season.
Yeah. All right. We're going to do Eastern Conference. You and I have not talked about this. Right?
Yeah, you didn't give me any notice. I have barely done any research. So when I get all the names wrong, people can tweet about it, and then I own it. No. I'm going to get the names wrong.
No, we're not. We're not even going that far. This is a preliminary deep dive.
Oh, that's a relief. So we're going to get to do our usual over-under.
Yeah. We're going to
with the proper research and everything.
We're doing the East this week. We're doing the West next week, and then we'll do it for real the following week. I just want to get these out. We're going to dabble. It's appetizers. Right now I'm passing out shrimp cocktail and cocktail sauce. And, yeah. All right. I'll just do this alphabetical. Year of Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta's got Dwight Howard. Atlanta has an awesome FX show that is my favorite show in a while. I love that show. Please tell me you're watching the Donald Glover show.
To watch it yet.
Oh my God, House! What's happened to you? You haven't watched the Donald Glover show yet?
I haven't had a chance.
That's a crime.
It's in the pipeline.
That's like a crime against
Got a
humanity.
lot of shows in the pipeline.
That's a crime against humanity. Nobody would love that show more than you. Not one person I know. Except
I'm only 4 episodes behind, right?
No, there's been 6.
Oh. All right, well, I'll get caught up. Tonight would be a good night. I'm going to watch them tonight.
You're the same man.
I don't have to watch any of the boring baseball.
Before you died and became just a domesticated husband, you're the same guy who 14 years ago when Crazy Eyes Killer was on Curb, we had like an hour-long phone call afterwards just to rehash like every second of that episode, and yet you're not watching Atlanta. I can't handle it.
I'll get there.
I'm so upset about it. Can you watch it this weekend? The Ryder Cup's over. Stop watching golf.
I'm gonna watch 3 episodes tonight of Atlanta. How about that?
No, watch all of them. They're all excellent. It's the best show on TV right now.
I can't watch all 6 tonight. I have to get to sleep. I have important things tomorrow. I have a round of golf. The Nats' first playoff game is tomorrow.
Westworld, too.
I started watching it and got distracted and then saved it.
Well, bang out Atlanta. But yeah. I'm not a sci-fi guy and I'm not a Western guy. It was cool. It was just weird and different, and I liked a lot of the actors. All right, Atlanta is 43.5.
My preliminary take is I kind of like the over.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because I like them at 44 to 45 wins.
I'm in on the one last great Dwight season before the wheels come off. And not even great, just like a 18 and 12. Like, he's never played with a point guard before is the thing I keep coming back to my head. And maybe Dennis Schroeder isn't it, but it just feels like the style will be good for him.
Jared Jack.
Oh, Jared Jack,
I
Tate
agree
says.
With that.
Tate wants to point out. Dwight once played with Jared Jack.
No, that's who he has now. He has Jack now.
Oh.
He has Jack and Schroeder. Jack's the backup now.
Jared Jack's like Achilles exploded like 9 months ago.
He'll be fine.
Right, he can't be
fine.
back yet already.
Tate looks like he's kind of in on Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
Tate's in on Atlanta.
That's my number 2 in the East.
Stop it, Tate.
Yes.
Well, let's get to the actual
ridiculous.
number 2 in the East, the Boston Celtics. 52 is the over. At 62, I would still bet this. At 72, I would think about it. 82, I wouldn't. I would not bet over 82.
That's where you draw the line. 82-0. That's it. No chance where you take the Celtics.
This team's going to be really good, and they're going to have some of the best chemistry we've ever seen. And Al Horford, Ortiz is retiring, and the mantle is being passed to Al Horford as the greatest teammate, a humanitarian, somebody who could take the whole city under, just an awesome guy. Every room he goes into, he just makes the room better. He heals animosity.
The
He's
thing
just the
that's so
best.
hard to take is, because this is just a preliminary, we're
Yeah.
going to have to do this all over again. I'm going to have to listen to this same grotesque hyperbole all over again. I agree that 52 is the number. I like the Celtics.
Too low.
It would be great for them. I'm excited to see them have a guy who might be able to score the ball inside of 4 minutes, make some hard baskets. Horford could and should be that guy. We'll see. But 52 is a great number, and I mean 51.5 is great, so 52 is a winner, and we both like the Celtics.
We won 48 last year. Smart is going to be better. Rozier is actually going to be an asset, it looks like, off the bench. I can't believe it. I feel like I found $20 in my jeans. Horford, huge upgrade. And then Jaylen Brown, X Factor. I don't know. I like the
I think the defense is going to be slightly better, which is saying something, because the defense was really good last year.
Yeah.
One of the few teams that gave the Warriors a real test.
And don't sleep on Crowder, was hurt the second half of the year. I think he'll be healthy. And don't sleep on Crowder's kids. They're amazing at Madden. Brooklyn, the Brooklyn over-under is 21.5. And I kept looking at it thinking it said 11, and it actually didn't. It keeps saying 21.5. I can't imagine how this team wins 22 games just on a Brook Lopez, Jeremy Lin pick and roll. So my preliminary would be under. Am I missing anything? Like, they added nobody. They have no first-round pick. They have no hope. Like, what is going on?
It's. Can't you stumble into 22 wins though in this league?
I mean, they
you
tried
could
to
be really
last year.
bad and still win 22 games.
They tried last year. They had Thad Young and Lopez ruining my number 1 pick, and I don't know. I would think they would want to go the other way and try to trade Lopez at some point, try to get anything for him and just completely blow it up. But what do I know?
But what's the tank? I mean, they don't get anything for tanking.
Well, I would argue it makes no sense at all to have Brook Lopez in this team. Like, literally no sense. 0 cents. Because worst case scenario, he gets hurt. Best case scenario, he wins a couple games for you, but you have to trade him if he has any trade value at all. I would think you would want to trade him. It's not like you're building around him 3 years from now.
They're going to win exactly 21 games, so we're both going to take the under on them.
Charlotte's 40.5. Yeah, I have no opinion. Give me an opinion on that one.
I'd say over.
Are you trading for Greg Monroe?
You think we will?
Yeah, I think you will, actually. MJ likes having those old school low post guys.
You saying Kid Gilchrist?
What?
Trade Kid Gilchrist to the Bucks and get Monroe?
No, I think you get Monroe for a pack of donuts and box of donuts and a pack of Marlboro Lights.
Better than Roy Hibbert.
Yeah.
What
Charlotte's
did I
40
miss? Why are they so low? Why are they so low?
Unclear.
That feels incredibly low. What happened?
His best season was last year.
Yeah, that Kemba came off a great year. Batum got paid.
Yeah.
They turned out Jefferson and Roy Hibbert.
Kid Gilchrist still can't.
Kid Gilchrist is his arm still isn't totally
Coming
working.
back from injury.
I don't know. Nah.
I like the over. I'm mystified by why it's so low. I like the over, as a gentle over. 43. Why can't they win 43?
I don't have an opinion yet, but I will in 2 weeks. Bulls is 40, and I don't have an opinion on that one either. But that team, I'm prepared for anything. I think that's our ceiling basement team this year. You could talk me into 50 wins. You could talk me into 20. I don't know what to expect. I really don't.
I'm right there with you.
I mean,
It's
seriously,
a hard one. That might be the hardest one.
what is that team?
Terrible.
What the hell is
Who
going
is
on?
it?
Hey, it's
how many games is D Wade going to play? Let's set the over/under for how many games he's going to play first.
It's a team out of like 1988. It's a team that you construct when the 3-point line doesn't exist or that nobody uses it, and yet the hoops IQ of Rondo and Butler and Wade.
Jimmy Butler's really good at basketball.
I know, and Taj Gibson, like these are all guys that know where to go and what to do. Meritic, all these guys know where to go and what to do, and that part is fascinating. And also, like Rondo, I'm just not ready to write him off yet. I thought he had good moments. I thought that was a crazy situation he was in last year. He was on a crazy team with a team that hated its coach. They didn't play defense. I guess the X factor would be Fred Hoiberg, who left me cold last year.
They still won 42 games last year with Fred Hoiberg. That would seem like a worst case scenario for them.
Yeah, I would.
Powell was mailing it in. Noah was hurt.
Chicago or New York will be in the mid-40s, and I need to spend the next 2 weeks figuring out which one. Cleveland's at 57. I guess it depends on what LeBron season you're predicting. If it's, they know that it doesn't matter what seed they have. It doesn't matter if they have home court. None of that matters. What matters is LeBron being healthy in May and June. And my guess would be that he's going to be on cruise control and try to turn the team over to Kyrie and Kevin Love, who's by all accounts looked awesome and is healthy again. And maybe just lets those guys and basically just becomes not a supporting guy, but more of a facilitator, steps back, lets those guys sow their oats. He rests, he sips, maybe he plays 65 games. Feels like we're headed toward that season, but I think we've learned never to count out him just being a maniac and trying to win the MVP again.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We made that mistake last season.
We did.
You just described the narrative that we thought was going to be the prevailing narrative last season, and we both got Cleveland wrong.
Yeah, so I need a couple more weeks to study on that one. Detroit is off the board, I think, because Reggie Jackson is hurt and nobody can tell. Detroit is the NBA hipster community, and you know who you are. Yeah. Everybody likes Detroit as like a real sleeper. Gallagher. Jason Gallagher's in here, one of our ringer dudes who's done a lot of great stuff on the video side for us. He just did a fist pump. All the young hipsters, all the young kids are in on the Pistons. They want to watch Andre Drummond miss key playoffs in key free throws in a second round game. I don't know what to make of that team. Indiana. Can you guess the Indiana over under? I'll be interested to see if you guess this.
They won 45 last year. I'll say 46.
Yeah, 45.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
It's a competent team. They're to me, they're the dark horse for the 2 seed. It's a competent team with a lot of veterans. Yeah, they just have adults. It's an adult team.
Right. Yep.
Let's see. Miami's 35.5. That seems high.
How are they not off the board? I guess it's confirmed that Bosch is not going to play for them this year.
Bosch will not play for them this year. That's done.
Yeah, that's too high.
So you're looking at Hassan Whiteside, Winslow and Richardson, a lot of Dragic.
Tyler Johnson.
Yep.
Some $50 million Tyler Johnson coming off the bench.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And
America's the best country on the planet.
A whiff of Josh McRoberts, just a whiff, faint whiff.
What's it smell like? What kind of whiff is that?
It smells like dead salary cap space. And I can't remember who else is on this team because I haven't done all my. Wayne Ellington. Oh man, that team's going under.
Yeah, we like the under. We like the under.
Well, Miami had a great run. They won a couple titles. They won in 06. They won in 12.
Sure.
They pulled one out of the deep recesses of their assholes in 2013. And it was a great run. And I can't believe...
They stole LeBron, for Christ's sakes.
And Pat Riley invited Dwayne Wade over to the room that was covered in saran wrap when Dwayne Wade came in and shot him in the back of the head. That was unbelievable. I still haven't gotten over that. Dwayne, come on over. I'm having a barbecue. All right, I'll be there at 3:15. Done. Horrible. But he saw something last year in that playoff series when Wade couldn't beat Toronto. I think Pat Riley was like, I'm done. I'm rebuilding. I got Winslow. I got Whiteside. I'm going to stink this year. I'll get a top 5 pick, and I'll pull another franchise guy out of my butthole, and we'll be good again in 2 years.
So that was the calculus. He couldn't gamble on Bosch coming back. And if you don't have a good feeling about Bosch coming back, then there's no point in keeping Wade.
Right. Milwaukee. A sexy pick last year.
I hate Milwaukee.
Sexy. Milwaukee's
I get
wearing
them
lingerie
wrong every year.
They were wearing a nightgown and lingerie last year. 36 for this year.
36.
Seems low.
Feels low.
Seems a little low.
I'm going to research them. I get them wrong every year.
The Knicks are 40.5. That's another ceiling basement team, and who the hell knows what to expect with this Derrick Rose thing, which I don't even want to talk about or approach or stare at for a second. Brandon Jennings is on this team, though, and I actually think he's going to be a real asset for them. I think he's
they're going to need that. Pickup. They're going to need him to be an asset because Derrick Rose is the starting point guard right now.
And Porzingis is a second-year guy, and I love second-year guys. And if they do what I think they're going to do, which is probably play Joakim Noah 26 to 28 minutes a game, play him a little bit with Porzingis, but then play Porzingis at the 5 too. I want to see them play Porzingis at the 5 with Carmelo at the 4 is the lineup I want to see from the Knicks. I can't believe it.
I think I might take the over for the Knicks.
I think I like the Knicks. I like
their
team.
It's been 10 years.
I like it. I like their team. Phil Jackson, man, he knows what he's doing.
Take the over on the Knicks.
Somebody wake Phil Jackson up from his 4 p.m. nap and tell him I like his moves. Orlando. Oh, guess Orlando.
How many did they win last year? 35. I bet they're at 37 would be my guess.
Nice. That's what they are. 37.
Oh, good.
Yeah. They do have the two Congo dudes, which I like. I like the Biyombo Ibaka combo, but somehow they I don't understand how anybody in the NBA can have a shitty point guard situation. It's like impossible. It's the biggest supply-demand position we have. We have 30 starting spots for a point guard, and we have like 75 qualified point guards. And yet Orlando, it's like the weak part of their team. Why would you spend $9 million on DJ Augustine? What did Elfrid Payton show you the last couple of years to make you think he could still start? And I was a huge fan of his, but he was terrible. He can't shoot. You can't play point guard and throw up bricks in 2017.
Maybe Ricky Rubio will get that message this year.
And I don't understand how you play Gordon, Ibaka, and Vucevic and Biyombo together.
Gordon's playing small forward now.
Yeah, they have Gordon. Tate said they have Gordon at small forward. Guess what? That's a mistake. I don't like that at all. Who's their coach? Tate?
From Indiana. Yeah, Vogel.
Oh, Vogel.
Yeah.
Oh, Vogel. I forgot they had Vogel. Yeah. See, this is why this is the unprepared over-under go through.
Hazonia.
We need to do the research. Right?
I know, the Hazonia. You know, I saw Hazonia's when Rudy Fernandez was on that Spain Olympic team.
Yeah.
And I was thinking remember how excited we were about Rudy Fernandez 10 years ago? And I think that's Hazonia.
We were also excited about Hazonia.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm worried that's Hazonia's destiny. He's just like this Spanish cock tease like Rudy Fernandez. He's going to tease us into thinking this is the year, and it never happens. I'll tell you one thing, though. He's going to have a lot of sex. A lot of sex in Orlando.
Orlando.
That dude.
Good place for the sex.
Do you want to guess Toronto?
Well, let me look at that.
No, don't look. Just
when
guess.
they went 47-48 last year?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 46.5 for Toronto. Slight downtick.
50.
Like,
5-0. 50.
Why are they better?
Well, they added Sabonis.
They just signed.
They added. Oh no, Oklahoma City got Sabonis. No, they had the Pirtle. They got Jakob Pirtle.
Oh yeah.
Jakob Pirtle. Dead silence from House. Jakob Pirtle was the guy. He was the guy Sabonis destroyed in the NCAA tournament. So they got him. So
is he going to get 10 minutes? I don't care about Pirtle.
They lost Biyombo.
50. Oh, they won 56 last year. So I disrespected Toronto. I forgot how successful they were. They were great at home. They only lost 9 games at home last year.
I got to say, I didn't realize.
So 50 is fair.
This is why we're being very careful about pointing out that we haven't researched everything yet. I didn't realize Toronto won 56 either. I think I blacked out. For the last 7 wins. Jesus.
I forgot. Yeah, they were a game away from being the number 1 seed in the East.
I thought, Tate, didn't they add somebody? I thought they added one summer dude. They do something? Couldn't have just been Jakob Poeltl.
Well, I mean, they had the re-sign. I mean, DeRozan
they just re-signed some dudes.
Yeah, I mean, then they have Jonas. Oh, Sullinger. They got Sullinger.
Oh, they got Sullinger.
I mean,
yeah, nice guy, but I don't know what to say about that. I think they're worse.
Congrats.
That looks like an early underpick. Last but not least, the Wizards. What do you think they are?
Yeah, my almost Bullets. We actually teased this a little bit right when this stuff came out. You asked me, and I think it was like 41.5 or 42 or something.
42.5.
Early returns on the almost Bullets.
Oh no.
Sadaransky.
No.
Backup point guard, 6'7". You should see the dunk clips. I already love them. I might get.
Where does this guy? What team was he on in the Olympics? Or somewhere. I've seen something from this guy, and I got excited.
Like Czech Republic. I'm gonna mess it up. I don't know. I haven't studied anybody either, but his dunk clips are awesome.
I saw something of him, and I got excited for you. That would be nice.
Yeah.
I hope that happens for you.
I love. Obviously, I'm going to take the over for the almost Bullets. I think whatever the number is, Scotty Brooks is going to be a 2 to 3 to 5 game upgrade over Randy Fitzman, the chess player. Randy Fitzman, the famous chess player. And I think the real key, as always, is Bradley Beal going to play 50 games. Huh?
You just said Scott Brooks is going to be an upgrade. Just want to remind you.
Over Randy Whitman? Did you? I mean, hello. I watched 82 games of Randy Whitman in the last 3 seasons. Do you think that was fun?
No.
Scotty Brooks is an upgrade over Randy Whitman.
Sacramento calls you. November.
Yes. The answer is yes.
No, it's an offer you weren't expecting.
Okay.
They're actually interested in getting John Wall.
Okay.
They want to offer you. Oh man, they don't have a lot to offer. They want to offer you the Rudy Gay expiring contract, Willie Cauley-Stein, this year's number 1 unprotected, and their 2019 number 1 unprotected for John Wall.
No. Hang up the phone.
Really?
No, not even close. They're going to be the almost Bullets are going to be in the playoffs. Yeah, I'm hanging up. That's awful. That's an awful trade proposal.
Okay. You're going to keep Wall and Bill together.
Yeah, that we want to see them play. It would be great to have both of them for a full season and see what they're capable of. They were one John Wall wrist injury away from playing in the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years ago. That would have been something. It's exciting.
Your best basketball.
They're going to get back to the playoffs this year.
The best Chocolate City basketball moment of the 2016-17 NBA season is going to be when the Cavs visit the White House. I'm sorry. That's it. That's going to be the pinnacle. When all those dudes come in and Obama busts J.R. Smith's balls about how he's glad he wore a shirt and he does that whole thing. It's going to be the best. What's going to be better than that? David Blatt being denied at the gate.
I'm sending you Sadaransky dunk clips once a week. Every week you're getting a new Sadaransky dunk clip from me.
You could have told me Sadaransky was the new hope of the Wizards or like somebody who's working with Dan Steinberg on the DC Sports Blog. I would have believed anything with that.
Could be a side gig. I have to tell you, today I tweeted this. I'm not sure if you saw it. NBA History put a 55-second clip of the Bullets, that Bullets team with when Rasheed Wallace was a rookie and Chris Webber was on there. It was probably it really tore the heart out of me.
Yeah.
Watching those two. It was 55 seconds of those two playing together in a scrimmage. They were going up against one another.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Did you get a contact high?
It hurt my heart. No, I cried. I had to clean up the tears.
Thanks to Sonos, the smart speaker system that streams all your favorite music to any room or every room. Control your music with one app or fill your home with pure immersive sound. Add your existing music services or discover something new. Go to Sonos.com right now. Sonos, send Joe House something. He loves Sonos. Thanks to Stamps.
Oh, I do love Sonos.
Yeah, send Joe House something. Thanks to Stamps.com. Stop relying on the post office. Buy and print official U.S. postage using your own computer and printer. Sign up for Stamps.com. Use the promo code BS for a 4-week trial plus a $110 bonus offer that includes postage at a digital scale. Go to Stamps.com. Click on the microphone at the top of the homepage. Type in BS House. Don't forget, your boys, Keeping It 1600, live pregame and postgame shows for Sunday's presidential debate. Doing it on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/.
I watch every second. I love those guys. Them calling Sean Hannity 3 weeks ago was the funniest thing that happened in the month of September.
Well, we want this to work because if we can pull off this Facebook, Twitter thing every once in a while with live events, which we think we will, it'll eventually lead to you and Shaq at the Masters, where you're wearing your own green jacket. You're wearing your own green jacket in the Callaway Shack House, only it's just covered in blue cheese. It'll be great.
Yeah, I want to bring the new homie. I'm bringing our boy Chris Vernon along. He loves the Masters.
Yeah, don't be. When are you going on Chris Vernon's podcast? I don't want you to become.
He invites me.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to allow that. I'm going to block that one.
I'm a pot whore. I did Chris Saliza 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, sure. You did do the Saliza.
I give it up to anybody.
Saturday night, October 15th, Boston, Massachusetts. Jimmy Kimmel and I are doing a live show at the Schubert Theater. All proceeds benefit Harvard Scholars at Risk. Go to citycenter.org or call 866-348-9738 for tickets. citicenter.org. And that's it, House. So do me a favor. Don't look at the Western Conference over-unders next week.
I promise not to.
Yeah. Because there were a couple
We'll do another quick drive-by, and then we'll get serious about the preparation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting serious this weekend. I'm throwing myself into it.
Well, we're both going to go, most importantly, 3-0 for these Callaway Par 3 picks.
Yeah. We got that.
We have to.
We got that. All right. Enjoy the weekend. Go Red Sox. Thanks, House. Thanks, Lombardi. And we'll talk to you next week.
Rewind this track right here. Close your eyes and picture me rolling.